digital oscillator we're going to talk about is the, get ready for it, virtual analog. Now, I gotta admit, I'm not particularly a fan of virtual analog, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because so rarely does virtual analog so rarely is it virtually analog. But still, analog functionality in a digital format is useful and helpful, and this implementation is interesting and certainly usable. So we will dive right into it. Okay, let me see here. We are on virtual analog. So the first knob, wave, is going to deal with detuning because basically the virtual analog oscillator in this synthesizer is actually two oscillators. So you get to define what frequencies those two oscillators are and what waveforms they are. So let's dive in. Here's just an initial sound. So let's go into wave, which is detune, and let's detune these two oscillators. A little more analog sounding there. I had to throw in some glide there just for fun. But yeah, you can hear that the detuning really adds a lot to generating more of a virtual analog sound. But it doesn't stop there. We can also create intervals. Including octaves. Looks like two octaves, perhaps in both directions. Two octaves in both directions. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get back to, well, let's give it a little detuning. Next, the next knob is it is basically the waveform of one of the oscillators, and it has a variety of squares, and then it has sync sounds, which is weird. As you might know, the sync functionality is a situation where one oscillator is forced to restart its waveform when when the other oscillator restarts its waveform. But the sync is kind of all in one of these oscillators, along with the square wave and pulse width modulation, which is I don't understand computers, but it's all there. So let's explore that. We'll take this down to 0. Now at 0, it seems we might have a duty cycle of 0 or 100%, which is cool because that means you can drop one of these oscillators out if you need to. There's kind of a pulse sound. Hearing kind of a pulse width modulation as I am modulating the pulse width with this setting. variety of square type. We're not really getting that hollow square sound, but you don't always need that. And then we get into the sync stuff. You can hear that right around 72. So you can take these timbres how you'd like them, or you can add a modulation that sort of focuses on that range. So that's one knob. The other knob sets the wave shape of the other oscillator, and it morphs from a saw that whose shape you can vary to a triangle to a saw with what they describe as an increasingly wide notch. Not sure what that means, but okay. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, let's make this other oscillator go away, because we can do that. Did we have some filtering going on this whole time? There you can hear a pretty normal saw. And there, up there, you can hear some different saw shapes. Which kind of gives you the aural equivalent of pulse width modulation, but in saw. As you can hear, there's some pretty decent bass possibilities there. Paraphonic. Well, actually polyphonic, but we're not, because we're not really using any filters. Nice. What happens if we tune? You can make some pretty big chords. That's very nice. So that is your virtual analog oscillator on the Arturia MicroFreak.